Hi everyone, so we are here to discuss the design and production of my book related to Harry Potter, Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes, bestsellers of March 2001. First, let's begin with the inspiration. So, I was just sitting at home, jotting down notes about random ideas that I could do for this book. My favorite of the ideas was Gringotts and Goblins, the story of how goblins came to work at Gringotts. However, I didn't really love this idea, so I went looking around my house for more inspiration. So I went down to my living room, and my mother was reading a home furniture magazine, which looked a lot like this. And boom, the idea hit me. I could create a catalog for Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes, and immediately I fell in love with this idea for two reasons. First, it was based around my two favorite characters from the book, Fred and George Weasley. The second reason is that the catalog would be fun and whimsical design and mess around with. With this idea in mind, I ran up to my room and drew my first sketch. Here's an actual image of the first sketch. I know, I'm truly an artist. Anyways, this sketch looks exactly like the catalog. Each product had a picture, a title, and a description. About a week later, I was tapping on my first draft of the book and was like, wait, there's no way that George Weasley, the creative funny one, would make something as boring as a magazine. Now let's take a look at why. So clearly, Fred and George are not very serious people. For this reason, I decided to switch to a small flipbook. It would be something that visitors would pick up upon entering the shop or receive in the mail. In addition, I know that George is not a very formal person and that these books would be mass-produced, so I decided to make the text seem handwritten rather than printed by selecting certain fonts, and to bind the book together with twine rather than actually making spine for a small flipbook. However, when I sketched my new design out, it still looked very empty and I could tell it was definitely missing something quintessential. So I went back to the movies for inspiration.
Step up, we've got fainting fancies, nosebleed nougat, and just in time for school, puking pastels. Into the cauldron, handsome.
The shop and the twins are so interesting and playful, and I felt like the flipbook was missing that element. So I added a quirky quote and a use case to each product page and printed my first prototype. Let's take a look at it. So here's the title page, and it's pretty standard. It just has the title, a logo, and who it's by. And then of course you have the table of contents right in the front, and in the back you have ordering instructions and other bestsellers. All of these are standard for any catalog really. Here is an example of a product. On the left page there is a picture of the product and a quirky quote. On the right page there is a product's type, description, use case, and price. The quirky quote and the use case are two things I added to make the book more interesting and fun. However, we must remember that George's life was not all fun and games. So Fred's death was the saddest moment of the whole series for me, and it was the first time I ever cried from reading a book. I cannot imagine how George would feel after losing his lifelong twin and best friend. Fred's death is just too central to George's life for the dedication to be in the first few pages of the book, like it is for most books. For this reason, I decided to put the dedication in the back cover of the book. Here it is, dedicated to Fred, my brother and best friend. Overall, I was very pleased with the whole product in general, so I didn't really think I needed to make too many changes for the final product, but I did make a couple changes and then I went ahead to print it. And so we have arrived at the final product, which is right here. It's very small and very similar to the actual prototype. And the only differences are that, one, this is printed on glossy paper, so that it's a little bit more fancy, but we still have to remember that this is mass-produced for a small shop, so it's not going to be super fancy, which is also why this is tied by twine rather than having an actual spine. If we look inside, we have the background is changed for everything, and now I have to edit each one of these images so that it would fit with the background. So that's it. I really enjoyed this project, and I hope you enjoyed my documentary. Catch you next time.